Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. In this video we got this 2015 Cummins here. It has a seized turbocharger. So the vanes are stuck inside and the actuator is blown. So we're going to replace that with a reband stock replacement drop-in from BD Diesel. So let's get this on the hoist and get started. First things first, you gotta unhook your battery cables to the positive, negative. Same thing on the other side. Then you come over and unhook your barometric pressure sensor and your mass airflow sensor. Take the lid off. Undo this hose clamp for the intake, takes that off. You probably don't have to do this, but I'm gonna remove the air box and the battery just for clarity, and it'll give you a little extra room. So to get the air box out, there is a 13 mil bolt right there that goes in right there. Take that out. Then there are these mounts here on the back of the air box that go into those two rubber mounts there. They just pop out. And on this truck it has active air, so it also has an electrical connector. So you unplug that. For the remainder of the intake, this hose right here comes off. It just has this spring clamp. You undo that, pull it back, take that off, and then there's another hose clamp down on the end of the turbocharger that you loosen, and this whole thing pops right out. Then from here, you have to undo this charge pipe clamp, this coolant line. You have to snip this zip tie here. You have to, if this one has a speed sensor on it, you have to unplug that. This doesn't look like it does, so we're not going to worry about that. Take the turbo feed line off. You can take it right out. The other end of it's right here, so you can get that right out of there. The other end of the coolant feed line is here, so you can pull it right out as well. Remove this relay. Undo the exhaust clamps from underneath. Undo the mount nuts for the turbocharger right there. There's 4. Undo the drain line, and there's also a coolant line underneath. You have to undo those. And yeah. And then we'll go from there with it. Now before you go to undo the coolant lines off the turbocharger, you should drain the system. So this truck here is kind of easy to drain. You got this pipe right here. You just take the spring clamp off, pull it back to open it up a bit, and then have a pail underneath with a funnel to direct it into the pail. And once that's drained out, you can just put that, once that's drained out, you can put the clamp back on and away you go. So there we go, we got our oil feed line, coolant feed line off, turbo outlet line off, intake off. Took both ends of the coolant line, which is here, and the oil line, which is here. Took the whole thing right out of there. So now we're going to take the passenger side wheel off, take the inner fender off, and we can get out the electrical connectors for the turbo actuator and get at the clamps, and also get at some of the mounting bolts a lot easier through the fender well. So take the inner fender off. There are 8 mil bolts here, 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 all around, and then there are push clips that go in this hole here. A bolt that goes in that one, a bolt that goes in that one, and a push clip that goes there. So once you have that off, you can get at this electrical connector. So you have to undo this connector, take this, there's a 10 mil bolt down in here that you have to get off right here. And then this clamp. So you can see the band clamp down in there. Gotta undo that. That is an 11mm. Then the turbo drain, you can see that perforated tube. That is two 10mm bolts. And then the coolant drain is also down in there somewhere. So you have to undo that as well. And then the mounting bolts for the turbocharger are right here. There's two of them. There's two back in further as well. And then once you unmount all of that, you're supposed to undo the engine mount to give you more room to get everything out of there. So let's get that electrical unhooked and all the rest of the bolts and the clamps and everything, and then try to get the turbo out. So we got our electrical out. That's unplugged. The bolt is out down there. And what that does is hold the NOx sensor wire, so you have to kind of pull that out of the way. Take this connector, just put it down to the side. Now everything electrical wise is off of the turbo. So now we're going to go underneath and we can get at that clamp a lot easier, and also take off the mounting bracket for the downpipe. So the exhaust holder is a bolt here and a bolt up there. We've got the downpipe off, as you can see. The clamp is slid back, the pipe is up. Kind of nice because there's a flex pipe right here, so that whole joint will flex back. So what I did was we put a ratchet strap on the exhaust back to the back and ratcheted it so it'll stay away from the turbocharger and give us some more room. So we got the engine mount unbolted. You don't have to take the whole thing out of there. Just take the top two bolts and the one bottom one out on the plate that goes to the engine. Loosen off this other bottom one down in here. Loosen off the bolt that goes across like through the mount. Then, so take a bottle jack and then you can put it on a bolt for the oil pan. So that way you're not lifting like right on the lip of the engine. It's going to go through that bolt. You're not going to crush the oil pan edge. You're not going to crush anything like that. And then jack it up. So then you have tons of room underneath to get at the drain tube and the coolant pipe. Unbolt those, and now all we have to do is unbolt the 4 turbo flange bolts, and she should pop out. Alright, so you see the turbo's out, drain tube, just kind of, you can flex it down out of the way. The engine mount here, as you can see, you just kind of have to reposition it. You don't have to take it right out. And since that shield that you see there, that's what's in the way to get at the bolts. So once you bring the engine up a little bit, you have probably 5-6 inches of space to get at everything underneath. Makes it way easier. And as for the turbo, the new one comes with these studs and washers. So you have to put a stud in this hole, and this hole. You also have to swap over the turbo speed sensor. There's just an 8mm bolt that holds it down into the turbo. And then it seals with that O-ring. So that would go right down in there. It's just a bolt that holds it in. So you just bring it over. Put it in the new one. Take the bolt and thread it down in and snug it up. You also have to switch the feed line connector for feed line fitting from this port to here. And then once that's all done, prime the turbo. So take like an eyedropper and put oil in the feed hole and spin the turbocharger till it starts running out the bottom, and then you know you have good oil in the turbo and it's pre-lubed. So let's get that done and get this turbo back in the truck. All right, and there we have it. Our bolts installed, our nuts all tightened up there, exhaust is back on, everything's routed, plugged back in, our bolt there, our clamp is on, engine mount down in there is all tightened up. Now we got to put our inner fender back on, our air intake and change the oil and take her for a test drive and see how she's working. So thanks for watching, everybody. Our turbocharger is installed, exhaust brake is now working, and check engine light is off. Hopefully you found this video helpful in installing your turbocharger on your 2015 Cummins. So don't forget to like us on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube, and follow us on Instagram. Thanks for watching.